Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Scott here with Trilogy Talk. I am here with Trilogy Live number 3. Welcome, Trilogy Nation. So, got to take a second here to get my thoughts together. I had kind of a last-minute scramble to kind of get some stuff together. Heading out to Jonesboro tomorrow, and a wholesale order form just popped up like minutes ago. And I got things to do after this, so I didn't have time to do it. So I tried to rush and get those, but order form looks nice. Some Lucid X Trespasses on there. I think I saw Moonshine X Trespasses on there. The X Compass, the Hybrid, AJ Risley disc, the stock stamp Fusion Raider. So lots of cool stuff, but I wasn't expecting that to come out minutes before. So give me a second here, kind of get all my bearings together. Let a couple people pop up. See what I want to talk about today. Later on, for our Patreon supporter disc, truly unique donated tournament, special edition West Side Harp. All right. Where am I at? All right. So what happened this week? Trilogy Live number 3. All right. I'm ready to go here. Can everybody hear me okay? So I think everything's going. Like I said, I was going quick. I didn't quite test everything quite the way I wanted. So get my video screen centered, my microphone ready. Hey, Jim, good to see you. And literally minutes before I came on, I saw my email come through. Thank you for the support, Jim. I appreciate it. So I got you added to the list for later today. So, all right. So what happened this week? Well, one of the things that happened this week was ratings came out. How did your ratings fare? A lot of people, as I'm watching, it's kind of fun to watch ratings as they come out. There's such a double-edged sword. People get super excited come rating day and they talk about it, and everybody, of course, they put out their post of, how did your rating happen? Everybody's got goals. Like I saw Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze was posting on Disc Golf Answer Man, and he was a little sad because his rating was going down and he's trying to get his up to 850. I saw Chad Kelly, who's a supporter on here. His went up to like 7 points. But so it's kind of funny, a lot of people either love or hate ratings, but come rating day, everybody seems to check them out. I've even talked to many of the pros, and a lot of the pros, they look at them, and whether or not they put any weight or value into them, they still look at them. So me personally, my rating went from 938 to 940, and I'm gonna kind of give credit to the Monkey Island Open. And as I'm saying that, I see Travis Trober's on the board. What's up, Travis? Where only reason I think my rating went up is because me and Mr. Trober battled it out at the Monkey Island Open, shooting a 990 average on the day, tying for first place. One of us lost in a playoff, and it was probably the guy you're seeing on the video screen, not the guy on the chat board. The guy on the chat board is probably the one that won, but I'm not going to give him that credit. You can look at PDGA to see those. So we have plenty of battles. Coleman Greg on the board. I see him. Rating went down 4. That's all right, Coleman. I know your game. So, Coleman, how far away are you from that 900 goal right now? So Travis, did you go up? How about you, Jim? See a few people on the board. So again, mine went up to 940. I kind of have the goal to get above 950. We'll see. I kind of went into this year with the thought that I'm going to play more tournaments. And even up to this point, I haven't played nearly as many. I'm signed up for a few. And as of now, I'm planning on going to those, but we'll see. Going to Jonesboro tomorrow morning, playing Advanced Men there. I'm very excited. I'm excited to play the This Side of Heaven course. I don't know anything about I think it's called Craig's Forest or something like that. I don't know anything about that one. Excited to get the Lucidex Truth that's in our players package. I don't get a ton of players packages. I'm usually the one giving them out, but I am super excited to see that. So I'll call them in at 870. You can get the 900. I have faith in you. So yeah, you'll do it. Trober didn't move at all, not even with those 2 990 rounds. Must have had some had to have somewhere in the middle that kind of made it not move. Ratings are hard. I never totally understand how those are going. So, but anyways, yeah, I hope the 950 is kind of my minimal goal. I'd like to be 960 is where I'd really like to be. I think I've been to 965. So, well, actually, technically, I have been at 980 once, but I don't really count that. It was kind of an anomaly. 965 is the highest I've really been based on my merit, my skill level. But just to kind of, now that I've kind of led into that, the reason I was 980 is I was over in England for a few years, and I played only like 1 or 2 PDG events over the course of those 3 years, but it was my home course. I played the skill levels, especially back in like 2004, were a little bit different. So when I went to England, I was a 930 golfer. Very high intermediate, very low advanced player, but I went over there. All of a sudden, I was top 4 and open at every tournament. So, I mean, it's a lot different over there now. Players have gotten considerably better, but back in, like I said, 2004, the skill levels were a lot different. So then I came back, and I'm 980, 982 rated. And the very first update when I came back, went all the way back down to like 940, 930. So right back to where I was. So sometimes people look at it and say, yeah, you were 980 once. You were nearly 1,000. I was like, nope, I never was 980. The PDGA system, even at that time, just was skewed, and it made it look like I was better than I am. But I'd like to break the 965. I think right now in my career, I don't really have the goals of getting to 1,000. My goal is just to be better than I've ever been. And in the 20 years that I've been playing, I feel like that would be a pretty good accomplishment. So, but again, going to Jonesboro tomorrow, this will be my weekend to see what I can do. And all I really ask out of any round is, if I'm going off a rating, well, one is to play the best that I can. But my minimal goal is to just shoot above my rating. I figure if I shot above my rating, statistically, I'm shooting better than my average. And I really believe in the rating because, like I said, for 6 years, I have been, my phone is on, I'm trying to get off. For 6 years, I've been around 940. I'll shoot a 980 rated and a 900 rated consistently. So it always puts me right back to that 900. So, all right. So a couple things that I saw also in the news this week. It's kind of pretty interesting. So speaking of going to Jonesboro, I saw, so Jonesboro is a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, and the Nick Hyde Memorial, just this past weekend, has nothing to do with the Disc Golf Pro Tour or Jonesboro for that matter. It just made me think of touring, being on the road, a lot of those players, big tournaments. But I don't really know the full story. I watched a little bit on Smashbox. I saw some interviews and some reading. So really my knowledge is only what the internet has said, Facebook has said. So it could be true. I mean, everything on the internet's true, right? But what had happened is somewhere during the second round, the round was canceled due to lightning and weather and it not letting down at all over the next over those hours. So like the FPO, one of the FPO cards, I don't know if it's the lead card or which one, but basically made it about 4 holes into the second round. They canceled the day, and they went into the third day basically being told that the second round was canceled. Like, so the second round scores would not count at all. And it would only, so what they were doing as the third round was counting as their second round. Well, then partially through that round, the tournament director, Matt Siri, or whoever was in charge, got the information that you can't cancel a round mid-round. I mean, so really what the rule is the way it'd work in that case is if you start the second round, you get holes into the second round, you have to finish that even if it's the next day. So theoretically, the third round would have become the second round. You can't say you have a first round, second round is canceled, and you're playing the third round. You play the first round, you can postpone the second round once it's started, and then the third day, continue the second round. And if there's time, then continue on with the third round. But you can't eliminate what you've already started. Once those holes in competition have been played, those count. Well, they were told that those 4 holes would not count. And what I was really more baffled about was not, well, one, that nobody on the A tier for this long running tournament knew that. But also, and I could have missed it, but all the stuff that I saw overnight on social media just talked about the weather being canceled. A lot of people talked about when are the tournaments or PDGA going to come up with a contingent on how to figure out how to handle weather a little bit better, or why does a tournament keep happening at that time of year if weather is going to happen? Because last year Nick Hyde also had a round canceled. I don't know anything about the tournament. I know Matt's a very good TD, a good guy, so nothing against him, nothing against his staff. I've never played the tournament, but I hear nothing but good things about it. But what I'm getting at is kind of more, at least I didn't see it. If it happened, then this is all mute. But how nobody even on social media caught that the second round being canceled, how nobody realized that you can't do that. Maybe it was the wording. Maybe I'm misremembering. But again, I didn't see anything about it. And I remember reading it well enough to think like, well, you can't really cancel the second round and just move into the third round. You have to continue the second round. I remember at the GBO several years back when I was running the municipal course, we had a bunch of bad weather happening, and we worked really hard to get the intermediate men off the course, and we got them finished. But I don't remember which AM women that I had on the course, but they basically made it between like 6 and 9 holes. And I had to have them come back to municipal first thing in the morning before my day tee time started. And their advantage there was, since it was on tee times, all my new people coming in started on hole 1. They were already all the way out to 6 or 9. So they were able to jump out ahead of the tee times without that causing an issue. But those women had to come complete the second round at municipal and then had an hour gap, kind of like on a shotgun start, to go to wherever their course was to complete that round. I don't remember which number of rounds it was or anything like that, but it was kind of that same scenario. So again, I just thought that was kind of odd that nobody caught that ahead of time. Nobody said that ahead of time. Maybe nobody knew it ahead of time. Maybe it wasn't obvious that that's what was going to happen going into the next day. I guess I feel like I saw that, and again, I could be wrong. So, all right, reading the comments here, and Jim over here is talking about throwing his new air getaway last weekend, and he loved it. You know, Jim, I have an air getaway, and I love the getaway in general. I have a biofusion, and I have a moonshine getaway in my bag. I played with the Lucid a little bit, not enough to decide where I want it or how I want it in my bag, if I want it at all. But because I throw the Air Trespass and the Air Ballista Pro, I've been very curious to try the Air Getaway. And I got a misprint one. It's in my bag. It's going with me to Jonesboro tomorrow. So we'll see if I play with it. It's probably not a good time to play with it prepping for a tournament, but I'm still curious to see what it'll do. So Mr. Carl Offner's on the board. Mr. 900, huh, Travis? So, all right, and those guys who are newer or just coming in on the board, or those who see it archived later on, again, only being the third episode of Trilogy Live, one of the things that I try to do with this podcast is just giving out a resource for me to kind of talk about whatever happened during the week. Sometimes it means nothing. Sometimes it might be 5 minutes. It might be an hour, only being the third one in, and the last 2 lasted an hour. I don't know that tonight's will last quite as long. I have some things I need to get done afterwards, so I can get prepared to go to for Jonesboro. but it's not designed to really have structure. It's more of, I want to answer if you guys have any questions about disc golf, Trilogy, anything that you want to. I try to answer as much off the chat board as possible. And I've said it before, really what my ultimate goal is to have I really want the fans to be able to contribute. So once I get the setup, and it's probably my only regret to starting this is I wish I would have started it once I already had that ready. But I want to be able to get it so I can have you call in and we can have a face-to-face conversation like via Skype, somewhat like an interview, and we can have a conversation about whatever we want. And it could even include 2, 3, 4 people. And when you're ready to go, you go, next person comes in. And I really think once that structure starts happening, people will be able to get more involved. But it's supposed to be very lax, very casual. I'm not really trying to, I have a structure over my screen that's over here. I've got a list of things that happen during the week, things that I'll talk about if I have the time to talk about it, or the information comes to my head quick enough to talk about it. I don't really rehearse it or anything like that. But like on my thing here, I got talk about Jonesboro that's coming up, which I've talked about a little bit. Excited about who's going to be there. I just saw today Paige Bjerkes is going to be there. She had some problems with her truck, which made it, or her van, which made it so she couldn't go to the last few events. She's been, I don't want to say stranded, but she hasn't been out and about like she had wanted to be. But it sounds like she got that fixed, and her and Grady are going to be at Jonesboro. I love seeing Bjerkes, but it's a pretty big field. A lot of people that are out. And again, I remember watching the video last year for This Side of Heaven. Actually, what I remember, and I remember it because my Facebook memory has reminded me today, is the Masters happening during Jonesboro. So those you can't see, I have my computer that you're looking at now. Right above here, I have a monitor, and I have another monitor here. And it's kind of like a NASA space station. Then right here to my right lower, I have my iPad tablet. And then right behind over here, I have my television. Well, anyway, so like I said, it's a huge space station, my microphone, my cameras. I have a lighting system right up here. But last year in this same setup, I remember I had Jonesboro, UDisc, and the PGA Masters all going on at the same time. But since that, I've always wanted to go play This Side of Heaven. I think that's what it's called, This Side of Heaven. But I never quite got the chance until tomorrow. And even then, I'll just kind of be upfront about kind of what my intentions are. I'm really going to Jonesboro to do Trilogy Talk. I'm going there to video and take pictures and of all our Trilogy people that we're fans of, from all 3 companies. Team Trilogy, if I meet you, if you're on here and I have never met you and you're out of Jonesboro, come up and say hi to me. Let's chat so I can get your name and your face kind of connected. But really, that's kind of what I'm going down there for. But because I am a player and I had the opportunity to play, and I saw that they didn't have a Pro Masters, Pros was full. I'm 940 rated now. I can play advanced. I decided that's what I want to do, and the schedule somewhat let me decide that. The Sunday, we'll have to see whether or not I even finish, because Sunday I really want to be out watching. But if I'm doing good, which I am going to do my best to do good, I need a good finish, I am going to do that. But if the situation arises, Trilogy Talk is my #1 priority this specific weekend for Jonesboro. There will be a lot of other opportunities I have to play. But to start with, I am playing. Yeah, Carl, I'll let you know about Jonesboro. Hard part with GBO for us is it's just so close. But I always say it's funny, is it's like a family reunion when you're at GBO. It's so long and there's so many things to do. But for years when I worked GBO, I would always do something like the Rumble or Bowling Green, because that was my big tournament to play prior to having to work for GBO. Well, this year I'm not working it. I'm not working in the form of a tournament director. I get to enjoy it a little bit more and play. But I am still running the GBO collector exhibit. I will be helping at some of the one-rounders, giving Derek Brooker a chance to take a break when I'm able there. And then I'll probably be doing filming in the bags. And then, of course, I still want to do Trilogy Talk at GBO. But I'll let you know, Carl, about how Jonesboro is. I will say the one thing I am not excited about is it is raining almost all day Thursday when I get there. Friday looks nice, and Saturday and Sunday looks not pleasant. I can tell you more than anything, I hate playing in the rain. I don't enjoy it at all. But I am trying to be optimistic. I did a video on playing in the rain, so I'm going to use my own advice on how to be prepared for the rain. I've already somewhat started packing for it all and getting all those things together. So that is what I'm looking forward to with that, and what I'm not looking forward to for Jonesboro. But Jonesboro being a Pro Tour event, another really cool thing about is Disc Golf Pro Tour and Smashbox announced, I believe, last week, their collaboration. I have a long history with both Johnny V and Terry Miller. They're both from the same part of Wisconsin that I'm ultimately from. For those who don't know, before I was in Kansas City, I was in Wisconsin for many years, and I ran a lot of tournaments in Wisconsin, and I was a part of that scene up there. But I've known Terry, I've traveled Terry, I've stayed at Terry's house, I was at Terry's wedding, so I know those guys fairly well over the years, and I've hung out with them through the years. So to see him and Johnny V being back along with the Pro Tour is awesome, just from a personal standpoint. But I also think the Pro Tour needs it. I think the Pro Tour is going to be more successful with that structure, regardless of what else they decide they want to do with that. Actually, a little tidbit of information. Going back to my history, almost in the same month. So I used to have a podcast called the Wisconsin Disc Golf Show. I will tell you, it was horrible. But if you search for it on YouTube, you'll see it. It's video, audio-ish. But anyways, I started the Wisconsin Disc Golf Show in almost the same month that Terry started the Disc Golf Guy blog, where he was doing more specifically just interviewing way before Smashbox or him doing live or round coverage or anything like that. So it's really awesome to see where those guys have come since. So back to that in a minute, but going to the message board, Jim, it's funny you're talking about the snow there. Is we were just before this was talking about, we were talking about Minnesota. We got some friends up in Minnesota, and they were talking about snow, and my wife's oldest son is going to Colorado this weekend for Kansas State University, something with his fraternity, but they're probably a party, but it's some kind of I want to call it a ball, or I don't know, he's got something going on anyways. But we're talking about, are we gonna have snow in Colorado? Because Minnesota's talking about all the snow. And again, I have a bunch of family up in Wisconsin, and I saw some post about snow. So yeah, that's crazy. Again, we're in April here finally, at least in Kansas City, Midwest area. I'm in shorts. It's supposed to get down into like the 50s here in the next couple of days, which is now like getting cool for us, where the 70s we've been having is, I don't want to say is warm, because it really has been gorgeous, but it has been warm in comparison to what we've had. But I'm not complaining, because we need that warmth to dry up all the water that we have on the ground. But I can't believe so many places how they're getting the snow. This winter in general has just been crazy. Pretty much since November, it's been kind of nonstop. I feel like a little bit in December, we got a little bit of a teaser where we had some nice weather for a while, but pretty much since then, it's been consistent. Rain, snow, extreme cold. I know for a lot of people, I was talking about it when I was in Emporia today, how long this winter has been. And so many things. You look at tournaments, the popularity, some discs coming up, and even talking about like the Raider and all those kind of discs. I think part of it is hype, but part of it is I think people are just excited for disc golf. They're ready to get out again, and they're excited to be back at the course, and they're excited to buy discs and have discs. But yeah. Well, I am glad, at least for now, we do not have snow here, and I am going south this weekend. But they are getting rain, like I said, down in Arkansas. So, all right, back to the Pro Tour Smashbox. Excited to see that collaboration is back together. I'm excited to see it'll probably take an event or two for them to totally click. Hopefully, they get to be able to finish out the season with the success like what I felt the Pro Tour had last year. So good job to Terry, good job to Johnny V, good job to Steve Dodge for making all those three things come together. I'm pretty excited about that. So small topic is I really kind of wish I could go, but I'm trying to figure out the words I have. So this past week, Nate Doss and Valerie Doss, they opened their Bevel craft beers brewery. I don't know if brewery is the right word, but their craft beer. And I just think that is super awesome. I've known and met Nate and Val very many times over the years. I've played with Nate, I think twice. I know him well enough that I can go up to him at a tournament and talk to him and say hi, and I feel that he knows who I am at least, or he's really good at acting like he recognizes me, and I'm sure he does. But what I think is super exciting is how somebody can take at their skill level, take a passion that they have, such as, I mean, craft beer is an art. I mean, the amount of time it takes to learn all of the different processes, the fermentation, how to get the different tastes. I mean, I'm not a huge beer person, but I think it's super impressive for someone to take that craft to the next level. They've taken a disc golf theme, put it into the beer that they like. They've been traveling over for many years. I know they did it for GBO. I feel like they did it over in Pennsylvania, where they've met up with other craft brewers. Like here locally, they did it, or in Emporia, they did it with Radius. So where they're able to learn, but also get their touch in with other breweries. I don't have a ton to say about that, but I don't know. It's I'm trying to think. There's so many different niches throughout the disc golf community, and a lot of people start as players, including myself. When I first started playing back in the mid 90s, there weren't a lot of things that are out there, so I took the opportunity I wanted tournaments. Nobody ran them, so I started running them. I wanted to buy discs. Mid 90s, internet isn't anything like it is now, so I wanted discs. I couldn't find them. My only place I had them was Walmart, but even I knew more than they did even then. So I bought discs, and then I started selling discs, and again running tournaments, the opportunity to do course design, and ultimately I created it to where I created it as a job for many years. That led into what I call my job now, by working with the Parks and Rec system, doing course design, course maintenance. But there's so many other people that are out there that find something within the disc golf community, a niche, and make it their own. From Patrick Majaris with custom stacks, how he's doing tie-dyes. And I know he's not the only one who's ever done tie-dyes, but he still took his passion and created a business, so to speak. And I don't use the quotes to indicate that it's not a business, but it's probably still a hobby. When I'm kind of saying a business is being higher up, like a Dynamic Discs, a manufacturer, versus somebody who does it out of the trunk of their car. But everybody has to start somewhere. Back at the many years ago, Flying J, which I can't remember where he's from, Minnesota or something like that, they made a business of it. Jeff Ash with Brainwave Dyes, they've made a business, I mean, where it's pretty much almost like a full-time production for a lot of those guys. I love to see it, and I know, like I said, Custom Stacks was working towards that. You have like Tina Oakley with Whale Stacks, where they're on the tour, but they have a business built within the disc golf community. Y Dry, which is Tara and Richard Y out of Oklahoma, I think it's Oklahoma. They also do dirt bags. Again, a business that came from their hobby. But Nate and Val Doss, they didn't create necessarily a disc golf business. They created a beer business based off of their love for beer and disc golf. They're really two separate markets. But what I really like about it is their new market with the beer appeals to millions of people who potentially have no idea what disc golf is. And then now they're going to come in Bend, Oregon. They're going to come in and sample their beer. People who travel all over the country with different apps and different tours to try different beers. Now they're going to go into this, and they're going to see, according to what I saw with the pictures, disc golf discs all over the place, videos playing. I'm sure there's memorabilia. And then, well, what is that? And then they get introduced to disc golf. Maybe they try it, maybe they don't. But I'm willing to bet that statistically, somebody is going to try it based on walking into that brewery for something that has nothing to do with disc golf. And that's probably what really impresses me about the whole thing is it's not the business, even the business I created has just to do with disc golf. Nobody outside the disc golf market really knows what I'm doing. The closest thing that I have is the fact that I have a tie and I work with the Park and Rec system. So when I go to different conventions or meetings, I'm talking to a bunch of people about park stuff. and then I relate to disc golf, and then they're, well, what's disc golf? And so you kind of connect. But I still feel like there's such a different line between like what I do, which all those people that I mentioned, which what their crafts do, and then what like Nate and them do. Disc golfers who create an apparel company, as an example. It's great when you create an apparel company, especially it's around disc golf. But it's even better when you create an apparel company that appeals to disc golf and then the masses beyond disc golf. But somehow be able to make those two connections together. So when you're going to your soccer, you're creating soccer jerseys. How do you create that so it ties back to disc golf? That maybe somebody, well, what is disc golf? That's not what I'm here to learn about, but it connects. So like the bevel is a disc golf term. The logo for bevel has got a disc flying through it. So, there's a connection, but it's still craft brewing. I think if nobody knew what disc golf was at all, and they went into that brewery and they just saw Bevel Brewing, they don't have to know. Bevel doesn't necessarily mean frisbees or discs to them. The little flying thing with the disc could just be something flying. It doesn't have to relate to disc golf. But as soon as they put two and two together, it gets connected. So, all right, take a break from that topic here for a second. Going to the board here. What's up, Donnie? You got Donnie on the board. So like I said, on the board, if there's anything that I'm talking about that you want to chime in on, if there's anything you want to ask, you want me to touch on here a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to probably stay on nearly as late tonight. Probably about another 15 minutes, give or take. But maybe 20 minutes. I guess just depends on what we're talking about. But like I said, I got some stuff I have to get done tonight. Next week's Trilogy Live will be normal. But the weekend after, which is GBO week, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that yet. If I'm going to do a Trilogy Live, I've thought about doing kind of a Trilogy Live almost nightly, maybe, just to talk about what I experienced from my for the day's events, since I'm going to try to be out at a lot of the courses, seeing a lot of the pros, a lot of the activities that are going on, especially for those GBO players or people who can't attend the GBO. You're going to see all the different stuff on, but this way, I guess if I do the Trilogy Live during that week, then you can kind of experience it. You can catch it after the fact. But I also like that it establishes a history of the things that are going on, especially if something cool happens. Someone gets an ace. There's some kind of dramatic, something good, bad, funny, things like that. Really, one of my whole goals with Trilogy Talk as a whole, for whether it's reviews, talking about new releases, talking about disc golf news and courses, it's to create documentation of history. So even like some of my videos where I go back and talk about the Moonshine Air Judge, some people care about it, some don't, or the collections. But what it does is it establishes a reference point for history. And I guess that's what my thought of on a lot of this stuff that I do, is to create that reference point. So by doing Trilogy Live during the week or throughout that week, it kind of gives a reference every day. So maybe the following year, somebody's like, oh, I've never been to GBO, what's going on? A person can reference is like, go watch Trilogy Talk week of, and you can watch those episodes, and it'll give you a step-by-step detail of what happened during GBO that week. Again, I like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I hate to commit to it just because I do a lot of different things during GBO, and I can't always do it. It could be set up like this. It might be just me walking with my phone and, as I'm walking around, kind of seeing what's going on. It may be just sporadic, but I don't know. Would you guys watch it? Do you guys think people who are not attending GBO would watch it? I'm going to looking at the board here. See Xander on the board. He's yelling GBO, or he's quietly saying GBO with 2 exclamation points. I'm going to assume and hope that means Xander is going to be there. So if you're a GBO Xander, look me up if you see me or say hi. Like I said, I want to meet everybody there. Donnie, I've played Bowling Green a few times. I'm glad that you're getting to go. Because I'm playing GBO this year, I decided not to go. But I like Bowling Green. It's a fun town. It's a fun course. It's a fun event. 800 AMs. I mean, you can't beat that. Carl's referencing how many spots. or how many spots are open at the GBO this year. I don't know that that's abnormal. I feel like every year there are spots. I've often said is just because you don't get in back in November when the registration opens up, or December, you're almost certain to get in. You just got to pay attention to it. But so many people sign up, lock that down, lock that registration down, fill it just so they can make sure that they get in. And then as life changes, the people drop. I don't really know what they could do differently for that, because I think eventually it's just going to get to where people aren't going to be excited about going or signing up in November with the assumption they know they can get in the months before. All right. I'm going to go on Xander's response of definitely there's so much going on that week. It's talking about GBO. Jim is thinks that the players package for Bowling Green's gonna have a gold line musket. I don't know. Did you see that someplace? I have not seen. A lot of times they promote what the special disc is going to be from DD or Latitude. I know they did the Scythe one year. I know they did the Fluid Felon one year. Bowling Green is kind of a place for new releases too, whether it's molds or plastic. So I'm always curious to see. It's one of the reasons I look forward to going to Jonesboro is to get that Lucid X Truth. Why do you think that, Brett? So that's something good to talk about. Why do you think that GBO is a scam and a cash grab for dynamic discs? Yeah, Donnie, second time at Bowling Green. I've probably been 4 times, I think, so far. I actually like to mix it between that and the Rumble that's in Illinois. The Rumble with playing Camden 2 course is a phenomenal course. A great tournament. A little bit different environment than Bowling Green. Bowling Green is definitely an AM setup. Yeah, GBO. Travis Trober is saying that GBO was great for the city of Emporia. I think so too. I mean, I was just talking to Rusco today. They got a 6-hole course going in, I think, at the RV park. I mean, for such a small town, if you're in Emporia any other time of year, there's just nothing to do. It's funny. I go to Emporia almost every week, and places like Radius and the different shops and stuff like that, I never go to, but I always go during GBO week. Yeah, it's weird. I'm there all the time, and even prepping for GBO here in a couple weeks. I tell myself the year out, I was like, oh, I really need to start playing and start practicing those courses as I'm there at a time, and I rarely do. We just did the Monkey Island here a couple weeks ago, and I've not played Peter Pan, I don't think, since the year before Monkey Island. And again, I'm right there. I always feel like I should play those. And people around me, like Travis Strober there, they went like the week or two before with a group of guys that are I hear it and I see it. I don't know. I don't know why I don't go with all those. So all right, so I just want to reiterate kind of what my topic was before I got off topic with the chat board is going back to the Bevel Brewing. And I don't know, what other things have you seen? And you can comment below. You can reach out to me. Maybe it's just something to think about. But one of the things that I've always said for the growth of disc golf, we have to create something that attaches to outside of disc golf. You know, so many people talk about how disc golf plays for disc golf money. All our big tournaments are kind of funded by in disc golf manufacturers or businesses, things like that. And I've always thought, I mean, even when I've had business ideas in the past, I've always thought like you need to create something kind of like Bevel where it can attach to non-disc golf players. So one, you can network to different businesses, different players. I don't know. We all have the dream, and not all, but probably most of us have the dream of owning our own course someday, which is super awesome. But one of the things like I've always thought is kind of almost like the Bevel thing, but I've always thought if I had a course and it had enough property, I always thought what would be kind of neat would be to have like a sports bar and grill, as an example, off to the side, like a disc golf themed sports bar and grill. Of course, this is the dream. This is you win the lottery kind of stuff. But you have a sports bar and grill to where disc golfers coming to the course can stop in, get a drink, can get food before a round, after the round. But what it also would be designed is that people have nothing to do with disc golf can come to it. Just like on a golf course, they'll have a country club and they'll have, or even sometimes city golf courses, they have a restaurant. And I've eaten at many of them, even when I have no interest in playing regular golf. So that's kind of my thought there is, well, if you have something, even if it's on a disc golf course or somewhere private, if you have a good enough restaurant, bar and grill, that your local families, individuals are going to come eat, even if they know nothing about disc golf. But the two things then come together. They see the swag, they see all the different stuff that is up and around, and it makes them interested. So I'm always trying to think of like what other kind of business is, and maybe even other businesses. Like I don't know of any other businesses that are quite like Bevel, but like even like screen, I guess, I don't know, apparel, shoes, 3D printing could be one. Actually, matter of fact, I think I saw, I wish I looked it up. I knew more about it. It just popped in my head. But Zing Discs, Craig with Zing Mini Markers, he made those little bottle or can holders. And I just saw, it was like an advertisement or something with those can holders were on some other beer. And the advertisement had nothing to do with disc golf. It was them promoting their promotional product. But it was his mini marker that went to, I'm pretty sure, a different industry that had nothing to do with disc golf. Anyways, I think we need more of that kind of stuff. So, all right, I'm going back to the board here. Yeah, Xander, I mean, and that's kind of where Xander is mentioning that alcohol is one of the biggest businesses to merge with, kind of going with what I just said. It's kind of what Bevel is done with. Like I said, my dream with owning a course, but love to have a restaurant with it, whether it's food or alcohol. Those are, I mean, alcohol is one of the largest businesses anyways. So it attracts a lot of people. And I mean, some people would argue that disc golf already has a lot to do with alcohol, but it's a different conversation, different topic. But again, I think that he's right. Alcohol is something that does tie. It's a huge industry outside of it. But I'd like to see what other kind of things are out there. Yeah, food, games, fashion, is what Xander is saying on the board, are good options. But do those exist yet? I mean, but you agree, food, games, toys, even sometimes like people who know nothing about it. And actually, I got a story there. So I have been with my wife now for over 8 years, and I've been disc golfing for over 20. And the first time I went over to her house, she didn't know what disc golf was at all when we met. I still don't think she truly knows what disc golf is. But she didn't know what disc golf was at all when we met. And the first time I came over to her house, I went into the garage. I was in the garage, and right in the garage was one of the little Whammo toy mini baskets. And I was like, "You have a disc golf basket in your garage?" And she's like, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, the frisbee catcher." And because I think she got it at Christmas or it was a gift, but someone gave it to her. And even though in that case it did not tie anything for her that it's there, I think it does, as the industry is getting bigger, you will get people who will walk by and see those toys, board games, books, stuff like that, and say, "Oh, you know what? I heard of that. I saw that at a local park," or, "Hey, that's at that park that we drive by." I think there's a lot of little things like that we may not even think about. Yeah, Xander, I've seen, actually, I ordered some stuff from Phoenix Disc Golf. He's talking about them doing 3D custom work. Do they do work outside of disc golf for other people? I've ordered little wall placards or things that you hang up on the wall so your disc will stay on there. Xander is saying on the board, if you can make vodka from poison ivy, we would all be millionaires. And I know in my part of the country, I agree with you. Poison ivy, ticks, mosquitoes, locust thorns. If you could figure out how to market those, the way people look for mushrooms around these courses, I think you can make a ton of money. So, all right, guys, that is ultimately what I have this week. But what we're going to first, before we leave, I'm going to do my Patreon supporter giveaway. First of all, I want to thank the 6 people that I now have on Patreon. This week, my sponsor is Truly Unique Disc Golf. They are giving away a West Side Tournament Special Edition harp. If you haven't seen it, they're the white ones with the black harp, bigger foil. So that is from Derek Brookert and Truly Unique. I appreciate that. If you know of anybody who wants to be involved with that, with the Patreon, as far as the giveaways, definitely I'm talking to everybody or anybody about that kind of stuff. This kind of stuff I'm trying to contribute and give back. Remember, the whole show is about from the fans, for the fans, and everything I do costs. So we got to create something, but I don't want to get into too much of that. If you want to support, patreon.com/Trilogy Talk. For now, we got 6 people. I do a raffle every week, and this week I said is the Truly Unique. So I am going to pull up here random.org. I only have the one screen, so you guys will have to trust what I'm doing here. Making 6 people, 1 minimum, the max at 6. I like, just because I don't like the first one, I'm going to generate the first one without looking. And now I'm going to generate again. And number 5, which I have it shuffled on my screen. 1, 5, Max Garcia. So Max Garcia is my winner for this episode. You're going to win a West Side Tournament special edition harp. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So next week, I'm going to put in the disc on the pot, and the disc that I pulled away, it's going to be a special one, is this prototype Marshall, classic hard Marshall. If you want to get in on this, make sure you become a Patreon supporter. I appreciate everybody who helps out. I appreciate everybody who shares, likes the pages, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Again, appreciate everything. Until next time, keep sharing the Trilogy love with the world. See ya.